So I want to talk about this Tyson Fury interview after the Joe Joyce beat Joseph Parker. It was on IFLTV. I'll link it in the description. Right, I just want to respond to Tyson Fury's whole demeanour. He seems, to be fair, right, Derek Chisora apparently confronted him, so maybe that's why he seems wound up and angry, but here's the thing with Tyson Fury. I've been watching him since his debut, since 2009. I've been watching him. Was it his debut? Was his debut on Channel 5? At least since his debut on Channel 5. I've watched all his fights. I've watched them all several times. I've watched a shitload of interviews. I remember before he was fighting, I believe it was Kevin Johnson. No, it was a fight before that. I think it may have been Vinny Medalone, where on Channel 5 they almost done these little documentaries about him, and he was showing off his new diet and everything because he was getting in shape with Peter Fury. And, you know, you got to give Tyson Fury credit. He turned himself around. I mean, his career, he was seen as a bit of a circus act, and now he's got the world in his hand, really. So you've got to give him a lot of credit. And look, he's an excellent fighter, and he's very good at mind games and very mentally strong, but he's got weakness, and I've seen it before. I'll say it again. If you think Tyson Fury doesn't have weaknesses, well, like I've said in my previous video, you fancy him. All right, so let's talk about some of the stuff he said in this interview. First of all, he said not extending the contract till Tuesday or whatever, they have to sign it Monday. Well, he has extended it, so there's a lie right there. He said that he's so desperate for this fight, that's why he offered 60-40. No. That is not why he offered this fight. Maybe he wants this fight. If he was that desperate for this fight, there's been multiple occasions where Tyson Fury could have taken this. Don't tell me there haven't been. There have been, all right? Same with Deontay Wilder, could have fought Anthony Joshua, but didn't. He goes on to say Joe Joyce is better than Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk. Okay, fantastic. You think Joe Joyce is better than Joshua and Usyk? He says Usyk's a middleweight fighter. There's a lot of shit. Usyk's a cruiserweight. He was a big cruiserweight. He's a heavyweight, okay? It's so... Sorry, but if I'm bigger than a middleweight. If I was to make middleweight, and I'm not fat, if I was to make middleweight, I would die. I'd die on the scales. I'd have to lose like 20 pounds. Ridiculous. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, he says Joyce is better than Joshua and Usyk. Okay, great. You think he's better? So that would stand to reason that he would fight Joe Joyce rather than Joshua and Usyk. Joe Joyce recently called out Tyson Fury on Twitter, and Tyson Fury's response was basically, you're not a big enough name. You need to get your market value up and then we can fight. But in this interview at the end, Tyson Fury says, doesn't matter who they put in front of me, just give me an opponent and I'll sell out Wembley Stadium. If you're getting upset about this video, I've just made this video, just point out some of his contradictions. If you're getting upset by this, you're a fanboy. Stop being a fanboy and you won't be upset. You'll go, he does contradict himself a lot. He does lie a lot. Still an excellent fighter. You might still like his personality. But he's full of shit. And that's just the truth. Now, let's talk about his demeanour here. You know, I've seen Tyson Fury trash talking with a twinkle in his eye, like before the Vladimir Klitschko fight, which I picked Tyson Fury to win on points nonetheless. I know somebody's going to sit here and go, oh, you never picked him to... Okay, I'll name a fight that I got wrong, shall I? Let's name a fight that I got wrong. Joshua versus Ruiz. I thought Anthony Joshua would win. There we go. He got blasted out. All right, so there we are. There's a fight that I got wrong. Seriously, these people, you see them all over the internet. They think someone's so insecure that they can't admit that they're just going to make up times that they were right. The reason they do this, of course, is because that's what they do. The reason they gravitate towards Tyson Fury is because Tyson Fury has similar character traits to them. His whole demeanor in this fight, I mean, look, I've seen him trash talk with a twinkle in his eye, like before the Vladimir Klitschko fight, before the first and second Wilder fights. He does not have a twinkle in his eye here. He looks steaming. He looks pissed off. And look, it's not about the contract. Here's the reality of the matter. Tyson Fury just saw a guy who he picked to win a fight get destroyed. Tyson Fury knows we aren't buying this whole Anthony Joshua's ducking him thing. He knows we're not going to accept Manuel Charr. He knows he needs to fight somebody. He knows a mandatory will be called soon, and it's probably going to be Deontay Wilder for a fourth time, and that he cannot sell that fight, and that he probably won't get up for that fight, and it's probably going to be another hard fight, truth be told. Let's be real here. It'll be a tough fight because he's not going to train for it, right? And even if he trains for it, he'll be training for a fight that he knows he's going to win and won't really make any serious money out of. He knows if he fights Anthony Joshua right now, that's his best time to get him, but Joshua is a bigger threat than the people he would like to be fighting. And if he loses to Joshua, then he's going to be exposed as not being invincible, and that would be it. But he would lose a lot of his fans. He knows people like Frank Sanchez, Hrgovic, Zhilei Zhang are about, and they are way more credible. Michael Hunter is about and is way more credible than Manuel Charr. And I'd argue, actually, all of those are better fights than Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying I give them all a better chance of beating him than Joshua, but they're not coming off two devastating losses. I mean, I know Joshua wasn't blown out, and I know Zhilei Zhang lost his last fight, and arguably Hrgovic lost that one, right? But it's not like it was completely conclusive like Joshua's last two fights. He knows if he fights Usyk is a big challenge. He knows if he beats Usyk, then he's going to have WBA, WBO, IBO, IBF, WBC mandatories literally nipping at his heels, waiting to fight him. And he knows the division is red hot. You know, I remember before the second Joshua Usyk fight, the first press conference, I looked at Anthony Joshua's eyes and I said, this guy is going to have a mental breakdown. I didn't actually expect him to have a mental breakdown after the fight like he did, but to me, he looked nervous as hell. His eyes were wide and he did not look good. And I said this, and some bozo comes up to me in the comments and he's like, all these YouTube psychologists thinking you can read somebody's emotions. And I simply said, if you look at Anthony Joshua and think he's confident, then you may be on the spectrum. Guys, look, you can read people's emotions looking at them to an extent. Watch this Tyson Fury IFL interview. Given the fact that Tyson Fury doesn't say anything true in this video, other than maybe that he thinks Joyce beats Parker and Usyk, but then says that all he needs is an opponent and he'll set up Wembley Stadium, and now we know he's refusing to fight Joe Joyce. The only thing that maybe is truthful that he thinks Joe Joyce beats Usyk and Joshua, but he's not going to fight him. Is he? He's not going to fight him right now when he's at his peak. He's going to wait for him to look vulnerable, isn't he? That's when he'll fight him. If he doesn't look vulnerable, he just won't fight him. Tell me what you think, people. I'm going to leave the link in the description. Look at Tyson Fury's eyes. Look at his body language. Listen to the things he's saying. This man understands heavyweight history, and he knows right now everybody is hot on his heels, and they all, on their night, have the ability to, if not beat him, give him a very, very good fight and make him look and feel very, very human. Comment, subscribe, tell me what you think.